Hello, everyone. Have you been thinking about going back to the office? Is your employer asking you to come back, or maybe providing you a little more flexibility, flex your work, things of that nature? I'm going to share with you a few things that came to my mind when I was thinking about going back to the office or not. So let's just get started. It's a very beautiful Sunday. Right now, it's sunny in Calgary, and I'm making this interesting video and sharing with you my thoughts on remote work or going back to the office. So let's get started. The first thing to remember about remote work or working from office is, let's face it, working from home during the pandemic really worked out very well for the most part. And it also proved that people can be trusted to work from home with almost no issues. However, we are human beings. You and I do not operate as a robot, or more, for the most part, we are not robots. We think, we feel. It's not about the rationale and the logic all the time. We have feelings. And I think it's important to recognize that people have feelings because it's critical when you bring that feeling part into the conversation, it changes. People, what they say outside might not mean what they mean inside. So why I'm saying all of these philosophical type things. Three things comes to my mind when you are told to come back to the office. As you know, whether it's Google, Apple, Tesla, Facebook, some of the banks, there's a variety of organizations. And especially these organizations, people actually look up to them because they are those organizations that are considered to be the organizations of the future as opposed to the traditional organization. But even those futuristic organizations are asking people to come back. So there has to be, or there have to be reasons out there that maybe normal people do not understand that it is beneficial to go back to the office. So having said that, so that's one data point. The second point that I want to make is perception. As I was talking about feelings, as you know, as we go back to the office, as employers are asking, hey guys, come on in, come on back in. You know, it's about the feelings that we need to be concerned about and consider it off. When people are going back to the office, you know, you have 50 people in your, maybe in your floor, and you are only seeing 15 or 20. Remember, the management is in case, and unless you are working for a startup with the last 6 months or last 1 year, if your company has 10, 20, 30, 40 years of history as a corporation, there is very good likelihood that the people who work above you, for the most part, came from that traditional background, going to the office Monday to Friday, if not some working during the weekends as well, and so on and so forth. And that's made them where they are today. So it is important to know that because their path to success came during through those steps, which included working from office, your remote work might not be perceived as if you were actually putting the effort in for the results that you are going to come up with. It's a perception. Okay. Number three, you know, like my kid went to studied from home for 1 year during the pandemic, height of the pandemic. And then this year he went back to the school. I have noticed a difference. There is a difference. Being able to work with others, being able to have that social connection. You have heard all of that. I don't have to repeat that here. The conclusion is it is beneficial. Number four, your office environment has better quality equipment, most likely, for example, ergonomic sitting arrangements, desk, and other good flexibility that I might not be able to afford every one of them at home. Number five, that I think many people are not necessarily talking about, is that not everyone has the flexibility to work from home. For example, people who are at the front lines, whether a grocery store, your people who are working in the hospitals, in Walmart, superstores, your Tim Hortons, Starbucks, you name it, they are not able to work from home. So the question of inclusion and diversity, and as well as the conversation about equity, we need to be able to justify that as well, even though this conversation has, like, at least I don't know of that it came in such a manner, but I'm pretty sure at one point people will be asking the question, what is about me? Why no one is talking about me, that I am working all the time from the front lines, and there are people who are getting the same pay, benefits and everything, and they're still working from home or remotely from some very fancy place. So long story short, what I'm trying to tell you is, if and when your office is calling you to go back, I suggest you go back. If and when your office or your employer is providing you extreme level of flexibility, do whatever you want, doesn't matter. And it doesn't even showing up, let's say after 1 year, you will notice that, performance and another ranking, another process that you guys have. I want you to be very careful in those situations. It might be a broad-based study that they're conducting to see if they can actually offshore your work. And I'm not making light of any of the people who, with good heart, providing that flexibility. I'm sure there are people like that, employers like that. But for the most part, you need to be careful, read the room very well, whether this means your job or the jobs out there are candidate for shipping out. One of the topics that I want to point out, that I'm not here to say remote work is wrong. I'm not saying that. To be honest, it is very unfortunate. What I'm going to end this video with one thing is, we had to go through this COVID pandemic to realize that remote work works. Let me repeat. We had to go through this pandemic to realize that the remote work works. The people, corporations and things can still operate and run even when people are working from home. And it operates, it works. People are getting you the results. And the reason I'm saying that is unfortunate is that for a like the Monday to Friday work environment, this 40 hours, whatever there are hours, right? The knowledge economy workers, most of them do not operate on this timing basis, right? In any way, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that working environment came into the realization, came into being, in my view, when out of a family, let's say you have two parents, you have two spouses, like husband and wife. When one of them was working, let's face it, like in the historical perspective is that when one of them was working and one of them was for the most part at home. I'm not saying that 100% of the cases, but most of the time. However, right now, for example, my wife, as I'm recording this video, is out at work. I'm at home, right? For right now, majority of the families, both spouses are working. So that means that we need to have some flexibility so that we can take care of our family. And I think government should also take note of this, because if you do not have family, the unit in a society do not have the right amount of time and opportunity to be who they are. Spouses cannot spend time with each other. Parents are unable to give time to their kids, and there is no flexibility at all. We will fail as a society over the long run, because like my kids and the kids of this generation needs to grow up with some good values, better values, so that they are better citizens, better people at the end of the day. So I think if you remove all the flexibility, it will actually backfire, in my view. But at the same time, though, the point that I'm trying to make is flexibility should only be taken, should only be exercised with caution, with thought, with critical thinking. So with that, I'm going to end this video. Topic for another discussion, that why we should preserve remote work to a certain extent, some flexibility. But when the opportunity is given to you, go back to the office, Good luck and see you next time.